Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. A Canada Nobody. I'm your host, Teresa Digg. I'd like to talk about the subject of Canadians buying only Canadian products. With the Canadian federal election coming up on April 28, 2025, it seems like Canadians' memory is very short. The same government asking you to buy Canada-made products is the same government that just increased the taxes on alcohol again. After removing U.S. alcohol off the shelves, they forced the jab on Canadians, forced lockdowns, froze bank accounts on Canadian peaceful protesters, and also on Canadians that donated to a cause that they agreed with. Invoked the Emergencies Act, beat and ran over with horses and falsely arrested anyone that disagreed with them in the protest. And now again calls on Canadians to not buy anything from the U.S. But yet asks the U.S. citizens to protest against their government. This Liberal government has doubled, even tripled, housing costs, leaving thousands of Canadians homeless. Approved mass immigration, made overall prices skyrocket, which has driven millions of Canadians to food banks, taxing Canadians like it's out of control, destroyed the healthcare system. It's so bad, Canadians are literally dying in waiting rooms and hallways waiting for healthcare. We've all heard the horror stories of this. Crime is through the roof. Legalization of hard drugs. And now give unsafe supply that funds drug addiction, which has led to an overdose epidemic. And now if we disagree with them, we are labeled as extremists and conspiracy theorists. It is so incredibly unbelievable the path this country has been on for the last 10 years. People say they don't like Donald Trump. I think they only know him through the Canadian media. I am literally appalled by our media. The amount of time I spend swearing at the TV nowadays is crazy. Ask yourself who actually started this tariff war. People, we really need to do our own research. Canada has a large amount of tariffs on other countries. We should be able to see that now with what's happening in China and the EV tariffs. Now with China's 100% retaliatory tariff against our canola industry, it's crashing it. I say Donald Trump, like him or hate him, he's about his country and for his people. And that is for the American people to decide. It is time for Canada to have a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And that government is best which governs least. The people cannot delegate to a government the power to do anything which would be unlawful for them to do themselves. Power tends to corrupt. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. The big question I have is why Canadians aren't demanding some form of Doge here in Canada. Ask any Canadian if they would vote for that. I have not had one person tell me that they were against finding and removing the waste, fraud, and abuse within the Canadian government. I think it's time for every single Canadian to do exactly what Mark Carney said. Look deep inside yourself, and you will see the truth. One of the real problems in Canada right now is the day-to-day choices people need to make. When you're struggling to pay bills, it's very hard to think about anything else, let alone the future. And it's very easy to look for someone to blame. And I'm sorry, that person is not the leader of another country. People, come on, please think about it. This government is telling you we don't need to trade with the United States. That we can do it all in Canada and be rich and prosperous. That all we have to do is just trade with all the other provinces within Canada. So why was this never done before? And now, Miss Delete Your Disney Plus is going to be the one that sets this all up for us. And she's the one that helped put us in this mess. Really start listening to Canada's provincial premiers. They want what's best for them and their province, not what's best for all of Canada. That's the whole reason why we have provincial and federal governments. They divide the people and control the side that disagrees with them. As I have followed along this crazy train for the last 5 years, I grew very tired of watching elected officials not answer a single question and leave Canadians in the dark and frustrated and praying for change. Let's not be blinded by yet another government-made threat like tariffs. Yes, there's tariffs, but yet again we are being stripped of the right to choose by the government's choices to force businesses to remove American products. Adding retaliatory tariffs on the U.S., that will only cost all Canadians more to live. No matter what choice this government makes, it always ends up costing the Canadian taxpayers more. And I think I understand now what elbows up means. It's a last-ditch effort for Canadians to try and keep their heads above water.